My daughter invited me to a Christmas dinner with the family, promising warmth and reconciliation after my betrayal. At the table sat me, my son-in-law, my daughter, my grandson, and a man in a suit whom I didn't know. Cold as ice. When I asked, "What's your name?" he remained silent, and then a text message came from an unknown number. "Sir, run away, immediately." You won't believe what happened next. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. The Mont Blanc, 1924, caught the morning light just right, the gold nib gleaming as I turned it between my fingers. December sunshine streamed across my terrace, warm for Clearwater Beach, even in winter. The Gulf stretched out blue and endless, a couple of boats drifting by. I had my coffee, my collection spread across the patio table, and nothing but time. Then my phone buzzed. Penelope's name lit up the screen. I fumbled the pen, caught it just before it rolled off the table. "Daddy, Daddy, it's me. I can't stop thinking about what happened. I'm so sorry. Please, can we—" Her voice cracked, actual tears from the sound of it. "Penny, slow down. What's going on? I miss you. Trevor and we were wrong. So wrong. Can you come for Christmas dinner? Just family. Like when I was little and we'd—" "You haven't called in 3 weeks." The words came out harder than I meant. But 3 weeks of silence after what they'd pulled? That takes some explaining. I know. I was ashamed. "But it's Christmas, Daddy. Please?" I gripped the terrace railing. Salt air filled my lungs, but my chest felt tight anyway. My knuckles went white against the painted metal. 3 weeks ago flashed back. I closed my eyes, still holding the phone. They'd shown up on a Tuesday afternoon, all smiles. Trevor carried a leather portfolio like he was some Wall Street hotshot, instead of a guy who'd burned through 4 careers by 40. Penelope wore her serious business outfit, the navy dress she thought made her look professional. "We've got something special for you, Daddy," she'd said, kissing my cheek. "An investment opportunity. Ground floor." We'd sat at my kitchen table. November sunlight slanted through the windows, warming the wood. Trevor spread documents across the surface like he was dealing cards. "It's a ground floor opportunity, Joe. Cryptocurrency mining operation in—" "This signature's forged." I'd run my finger along the seal edge, held the paper up to the window light. "What? No, that's—" "Look, I know you're not familiar with crypto, but the pressure's wrong. Whoever signed this used too much force on the downstrokes, compensating." Penelope's face had flushed. "Daddy, you're being paranoid. Trevor's friend personally. And this seal, see this edge? That's a laser printer artifact. This notary stamp is maybe 2 weeks old." The paper stock was wrong too. Too bright, too crisp, like someone printed official legal document on their home Epson and thought I wouldn't notice. 35 years examining evidence, and they bring me something a paralegal student would catch? Trevor's face went crimson. "You're calling me a liar." "I'm calling this document fraudulent. You want my opinion on what that makes you?" I'd slid the papers back across the table. Slowly, deliberately, keeping eye contact the whole time. "You'll regret this," Trevor had said, standing so fast his chair scraped. "We're trying to help you, and you treat us like criminals. If the shoe fits." Penelope's tears had started then. The waterworks. I'd seen them before. When she wanted a car at 16, when she needed money for her 3rd failed business, when Trevor first moved in and I'd expressed concerns. Trevor slammed the door hard enough to rattle my pen display case. 200 pieces of carefully curated history, and this amateur's tantrum nearly became an insurance claim. Now, standing on my terrace with December warmth on my face and Penelope's voice in my ear, that scene replayed in perfect detail. "Daddy, are you still there?" I opened my eyes. Boats on the Gulf, coffee getting cold. My hand shook slightly on the railing. "I'm here." "Will you come?" "Thursday evening, 6:30. I'll make your favorite. Pot roast like Mom used to." Something in my chest cracked. She remembered that. Mom's pot roast. The way she'd made it every Sunday before the divorce. "Just dinner?" "Just family, I promise." My throat felt tight. "Okay, I'll be there." "Thank you, Daddy. Thank you so much. I love you." The call ended. I stood there, phone in hand, staring at nothing. My other hand still gripped the railing. The breeze carried the scent of salt and seaweed. Same as every morning, but somehow different now. I walked inside, poured 2 fingers of whiskey into a tumbler at 9:30 in the morning, something I hadn't done since my retirement party 5 years back. The amber liquid caught the light streaming through my kitchen window. Before I could raise it to my lips, the phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Text message. Mr. Perry, this is Paloma Torres. I clean house next to your daughter. I need to tell you something. Please call me. The glass stayed frozen halfway to my mouth. My hands started shaking for real now, whiskey rippling in circles. I stared at those words, read them twice, 3 times. The phone felt heavy. The whiskey felt heavier. The navy blazer hung in my hand, then went back on the rail. I grabbed the gray one instead, held it up to the mirror. The closet smelled like cedar and old leather, familiar and grounding. Suits I hadn't worn since retirement lined up like soldiers waiting for deployment. Paloma's call had been brief, careful. Mr. Perry, I cannot talk now. My employer's here. But please, be careful Thursday. Very careful. I will try to call later. Then silence. 20 minutes I'd spent on my knees sorting through the tie box on the closet floor. My knees complained about it. 68 years shows up in the joints first. That's when the photo album tumbled out from behind the shoe rack. It fell open to a picture I hadn't seen in years. Penelope, maybe 8 years old, gap-toothed smile, holding up a sandcastle trophy from Clearwater Beach. Pure joy on her face. No calculation, no angles. Just a kid proud of something she'd built. My finger traced the edge of the photo. The paper had that 80s texture, slightly rough. Real film, real development, before everything went digital. The phone rang. I knew before checking the screen. Hey, Dad, just calling to check in. How's the... Wait, what's wrong? Toby, living 3 time zones away in San Francisco, working some software job I only half understood, but he could still hear trouble in my voice from 3,000 miles. Nothing's wrong. I'm fine. Just sorting through some... Dad, I can hear it in your voice. What happened? I sat down on the bed edge, sank into the mattress heavier than I meant to. My free hand went to my forehead, elbow on knee. Your sister called. Pause. I could picture him in his apartment, probably at his standing desk, coffee in hand. The silence stretched. Ah, and? She wants me to come for Christmas dinner. Apologized for... everything. Dad, she hasn't called you in 2 months. Not on Thanksgiving. Not on your birthday last month. Now suddenly... People change, Toby. Maybe she realized. Or maybe Trevor's got another scheme. Did she mention money? No, just family dinner. She sounded genuine. She sounded genuine last time, too, right before they showed up with those fake documents. I rubbed my temples. The photo album still lay open on the bed beside me, that 8-year-old smile staring up. She's still my daughter. I know, Dad. I know. Just promise me you'll be careful. Text me when you get there and when you leave. I'm not a child, Toby. No, but Trevor's a con artist. And Penny's... He trailed off. Go ahead. Say it. She's not who she used to be. You know that. We talked for another 10 minutes. Toby inherited his mother's worry gene. If concern burned calories, he'd have vanished years ago. Finally, he let me go with 3 more promises to text him and 1 threat to call the police himself if I didn't check in. I grabbed my keys, wallet, phone. The drive to Total Wine & More on Gulf to Bay Boulevard took 15 minutes. Traffic light for a Tuesday. The store's AC hit me like a wall after the parking lot. Heat. December in Florida means 75 degrees and tourists in shorts. The wine aisle stretched before me. Red section, French imports. The $12 Cabernet stared at me from the shelf. Perfectly adequate wine. But Penelope only drank adequate wine when she was pretending to be modest for company. For family, she expected the good stuff, or what she called good stuff. Anything over $40 that had French words she couldn't pronounce. My hand hovered between bottles, pulled back from the cheap one. Jaw set, I grabbed the $45 Chateau Neuf du Pape, her favorite, from back when we still had dinners that ended in laughter instead of arguments. The checkout line moved slowly. Holiday rush starting early. A young family stood ahead of me, father, daughter, about 6 years old. She was showing him something on her phone, both of them laughing. His hand rested on her shoulder, easy and natural. Sir? Sir, your total? The cashier had to repeat it twice. I fumbled my card out, swiped it. The family walked away, still laughing. Back in the car, wine bottle on the passenger seat, I gripped the steering wheel, adjusted the rearview mirror, checked it again. The engine idled. I should just drive home. Put the wine in the fridge. Figure out what Paloma meant. Instead, I pulled out of the parking spot. The bottle tipped when I hit the brakes at the red light. I caught it with one hand, held it steady while steering with the other. My phone buzzed. I didn't look until I pulled into my driveway. Text from Penelope. Dad, I'm so happy you're coming. Thursday at 6:30. Trevor is excited to apologize too. We both want to make things right. Love you. Love you. She hadn't written those words in 3 years, maybe longer. My thumb hovered over the keyboard, typed, "See you then," but didn't hit send. Through the windshield, my reflection stared back from the garage door window, an old man clutching hope like it's the last thing he owns. I deleted the message, typed instead, "I'll be there." Hit send. The wine bottle rolled slightly as I shifted into park. The cap caught the sunlight, glinting red through green glass. Thursday was 2 days away. The townhouse at 2847 Countryside Circle had Christmas lights strung across the front porch, white icicle bulbs that blinked in sequence, trying too hard to look festive. I sat in my car for 30 seconds before getting out, gripping the wine bottle by the neck like it might escape. The doorbell barely finished chiming before Penelope yanked the door open. "Daddy, you came! Oh, I'm so happy." She pulled me into a hug that lasted 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000. 2 seconds too long. My hands hovered before settling on her shoulder blades. She'd lost weight. I could feel the bones through her thin dress. Of course, I brought your favorite. "Shuts ton neuf de pap. You remembered. Trevor, look what Dad brought." Trevor emerged from the kitchen, apron tied around his waist like he'd been cooking all day. The prime rib sitting on the counter behind him still had the Publix sticker on the foil. "Joe, how are you, old man? Come in, come in. Here, let me take your jacket." "I can manage." "Nonsense. You're our guest." He practically pulled the blazer off my shoulders. I shifted the wine bottle to my other hand, flexed my fingers. His handshake had been aggressive, the kind men use when they're trying to prove something. The living room had new furniture, cream-colored leather sofa, matching armchair, glass coffee table that probably cost more than my first car. 3 weeks ago, this room had mismatched pieces from discount stores. "You've redecorated." Penelope touched her necklace, a thin gold chain she'd worn since high school. Her fingers worried the clasp. "Trevor got a bonus. We decided to invest in the house." "Rental houses appreciate differently than owned homes." Trevor's smile tightened. "Yeah, well, we're comfortable." The dining room table was set with actual china, not the everyday plates. Candles flickered in crystal holders. Prime rib, roasted potatoes, green beans almondine. Penelope served my wine in the largest glass, filled it nearly to the rim. Trevor was trying to bond over sports. Unfortunately, he'd apparently gotten his Buccaneers information from someone who'd never actually watched football. I'd seen better stats on fantasy league forums run by middle schoolers. "So, Joe, you catch the Bucs game Sunday?" "I did. That interception in the third quarter." "Right? Baker Mayfield's having an incredible season. 28 touchdowns. 23, and that interception was the defense, not Baker." He paused, fork halfway to mouth. "Right, right. I meant overall this season." I cut my prime rib methodically. Small bites. Watched their faces between forkfuls. Penelope kept refilling my glass like she was watering a plant that might die without constant attention. Either she wanted me relaxed, or she'd confused hospitality with bartending at happy hour. "Kieran, honey, put the phone away. Grandpa's here." My grandson had the posture of someone texting the nuclear launch codes. Whatever was on that screen was apparently more important than the prime rib that cost Trevor $50. I didn't take it personally. At 14, I'd thought girls were more interesting than grandparents, too. "Kieran!" Trevor's voice cut sharp. The kid sighed like we'd asked him to donate a kidney. Put the phone in his lap, not on the table. His eyes never left the screen. Penelope's face went tight, then relaxed too quickly. She touched her necklace again. "Dad, I wanted to talk to you about getting your finances organized. You know, estate planning, tax strategies." "My finances are organized." Well, yes, but Trevor's been learning about trusts and I have a will. Trevor leaned forward. A will's not enough these days, Joe. You need asset protection. What if something happens? Medical emergency? Nursing home costs? I'm 68, not dead. He laughed. Forced. The sound bounced off the walls wrong. Of course. We just want to help. Family helps family, right? Penelope refilled my wine for the third time. Her hand shook. A drop hit the tablecloth, dark red spreading across white linen. She rubbed at it frantically with her napkin, and for half a second I saw the kid who used to cry when she broke things, terrified of disappointing me. She caught my eye, something flickered there, maybe regret, then Trevor's hand covered hers on the table. The moment passed. Her smile returned, plastic and bright. The wall clock read 7:13. Penelope glanced at it, then at Trevor. He nodded slightly. 7:15. The doorbell rang. Penelope's face lit up with surprise, so poorly acted I almost laughed. Oh, that must be Kenneth. I completely forgot. You forgot someone was coming? Well, not forgot exactly. He's our financial consultant. I asked him to stop by for coffee, to discuss some opportunities. What opportunities? Trevor pushed back from the table. Just some ideas for your retirement, investments. I'm not interested in investments. We discussed this. Penelope was already walking to the door. Just hear him out, Dad. Please? For me? The man who entered wore a Brioni suit. I recognized the cut, the way the fabric moved. $3,000 minimum. Italian leather briefcase in his left hand. Phone in his right pocket, creating a slight bulge. He had the kind of face that smiled without warmth, like a shark deciding whether you were food. Mr. Perry. Not a question, a statement. I stood. Old school manners die hard. Extended my hand across the coffee table. Josiah Perry. And what's your name, sir? He looked at my hand. Didn't move. His eyes met mine, flat and measuring, like I was a used car he was considering buying for parts. Trevor filled the silence, nervous energy spilling out. This is Kenneth Rutherford. He's a professional conservator, financial guardian. He helps families. I don't need help. Kenneth settled into the armchair opposite me, set his briefcase on the coffee table with deliberate care. The locks clicked open with expensive precision. He withdrew a leather folder, placed it exactly centered on the glass surface. That's often what people say, Mr. Perry. His voice was smooth as ice water, right before they need it most. My phone vibrated in my pocket. Once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. Penelope watched me with that fixed smile. Trevor stood behind my chair. Kenneth's flat eyes never left my face. Your daughter and son-in-law, Kenneth continued, have expressed concerns about your welfare. I'm here to help you. The word help landed like a threat. I pulled out my phone, angling it low behind my coffee cup. Trevor shifted his weight. I felt him move closer to my chair. 3 text messages from Paloma. Mr. Perry, they are trying to make you conservatorship. Kenneth Rutherford is professional. He does this. Takes control of people's money. Get out now. This is trap. My face must have drained of color. The phone felt heavy in my hand. Everything okay? Penelope's voice came from somewhere distant. Fine. Just fine. The words barely made it out. Kenneth opened the folder. Papers slid onto the glass table with a whisper. Official letterhead. Legal formatting I recognized from 3 decades of examining documents. These are preliminary assessments. Financial documentation. Witness statements regarding your recent behavior. My recent behavior? Penelope sat on the sofa, arm next to me, too close. Her perfume made my throat tight. Dad, you've been forgetting things. The argument we had, you said things that didn't make sense. I said your documents were forged. Because they were. Trevor's voice came from behind my head. See? That's exactly the kind of paranoid thinking. I stood, too fast. The room tilted slightly. My hand caught the armrest, steadied myself. Stop. Just stop. The documents were still visible on the table. My name jumped out from the legal text. In the matter of Josiah Perry. The date at the top was today's date. They'd already filed. Daddy, please sit down. We're only trying to help. Help? By declaring me incompetent? Kenneth's expression didn't change. No one's declaring anything yet, Mr. Perry. This is exploratory. A conversation. My heart hammered against my ribs. Vision narrowed to tunnel focus on the door. The room felt smaller, air thicker. 35 years catching predators, and I'd walked right into their parlor. Conversation's over. I grabbed my coat from the rack, fumbled with the buttons, missed the first one, had to restart. My hands shook. I don't feel well. Heart palpitations. I need to leave. Now. Penelope followed me to the door. Dad, wait. You can't drive if you're... I can drive. Trevor moved between me and the exit, not blocking exactly, just there. Maybe you should sit down, Joe. We can call you a doctor. Move. My voice came out harder than I meant. Please. He stepped aside, slowly. Kenneth remained in the armchair, calm as someone watching television. Drive safely, Mr. Perry. We'll be in touch. The hallway mirror caught my reflection as I passed. Pale, scared, old. Behind me, through the doorway, Kenneth pressed his phone to his ear. His lips moved. He was smiling. Outside, the Christmas lights blinked their stupid pattern. My car keys slipped through my fingers twice before I got the door open. Kenneth stared at me like I was a specimen in a jar. I'd met friendlier people at the DMV. At least DMV employees eventually acknowledged you existed, even if it was just to tell you that you were in the wrong line. I backed out of the driveway too fast, brakes squealing. My phone buzzed. I pulled over at the stop sign, hands shaking so hard I could barely hold it. Text to Toby. You were right. Leaving now. Call you from home. His response came immediately. What happened? Later. Not safe to text and drive. Through my rearview mirror, headlights turned on at Penelope's house. A black Mercedes SUV pulled out of her driveway. Kenneth's car. It turned the opposite direction, away from me. I took a breath. Another. My hands gripped the steering wheel. I'd buttoned my coat with all the coordination of a man defusing a bomb while drunk. Trevor probably added inability to work simple fasteners to his list of reasons I was incompetent. The phone rang. Unknown number. I stared at the screen. Finger hovering over the answer button. Let it go to voicemail. The notification popped up immediately. I pressed play. Joe, Penelope called me yesterday. Said you might need some legal help. Give me a call, buddy. Let's catch up. Marcus Holland, my attorney, my friend. Penelope had called him yesterday, before tonight's dinner, before I'd decided I needed a lawyer. My stomach dropped. They'd been planning this for days, maybe weeks. The dinner, the documents, Kenneth's precisely timed arrival. Everything calculated. And they'd already started poisoning my resources, reaching out to Marcus with whatever story they'd invented, setting the stage so when I called for help, he'd already have their version in his head. I sat at the stop sign for 30 seconds. A car behind me honked. My phone buzzed again. Text from Penelope. Dad, you forgot your wine. I'll save it for next time. Please drive safe. Love you. The wine I'd brought, still sitting on their counter, $45 of Chateauneuf du Pape that I'd carefully selected because I remembered it was her favorite. They couldn't even let me leave with my dignity. I pulled away from the stop sign, headed toward Gulf Boulevard. My house was 15 minutes away. Toby was 3 time zones away. Marcus was compromised. Paloma was risking her job to warn me. I was 68 years old, alone, with a daughter trying to declare me incompetent and a son-in-law who positioned himself between me and doors like a bouncer at a club for people who scheme against their relatives. Not a huge market, but apparently there's demand. The Christmas lights on the houses blurred past. Festive, cheerful, oblivious. My phone rang again. Toby this time, I answered. Dad? What the hell happened? They tried to serve me with conservatorship papers. At dinner. Silence. Then, I'm getting on a plane. Tonight. No. Don't. I need to think. I need to... My voice cracked. I cleared my throat. I need to figure out what they've already done. Dad? Tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow. I promise. I hung up before he could argue. Pulled into my driveway. Sat there in the dark, engine running, watching my house like it might contain answers. Penelope's face when I'd walked out. That split second when her hand had reached toward me. Muscle memory from when she was small, when she'd grabbed my hand, crossing streets. Then Trevor's hand on her shoulder, and she'd dropped her arm. She was trapped too. Maybe not the way I was trapped, but trapped nonetheless. It didn't excuse what she was doing, but it explained it. I killed the engine, walked inside, poured poured 4 fingers of whiskey. My hands had stopped shaking, but the glass still rattled against the counter when I set it down. The house keys slipped through my fingers twice before I got the door open. I didn't turn on the main lights, just navigated through the dark to my office, desk lamp clicking on with a yellow glow that made everything feel smaller. My hands still shook when I opened my laptop. The screen's blue light hurt my eyes. I typed Kenneth Rutherford, Conservator, Florida, into Google. Made 3 typos. Had to retype it. Hit enter. The first result loaded. Tampa Bay Times, 8 months ago. Controversial guardian accused of elder abuse. Families seek justice. I leaned close to the screen, reading glasses forgotten somewhere between Penelope's house and here. Kenneth Rutherford had 12 current wards. 4 previous wards died under his care. Millions in care costs billed. Families locked out of contact. Drained bank accounts. Suspicious deaths. One case jumped out. 76-year-old woman moved to a facility 200 miles from her family. 6 months later, dead. Estate valued at $890,000. Final balance, $3,000. I scrolled faster. More articles. Court documents. Complaints filed with the state. All dismissed. Halfway through the second article, I shoved back from the desk. Stumbled to the bathroom. Dry heaved over the toilet. Nothing coming up but bile and panic. I splashed water on my face. Wiped my mouth with the back of my hand. Stared at myself in the mirror. Pale, old, terrified. Returned to the computer. One victim's family described Kenneth as Hannibal Lecter with a law degree. I'd have laughed if I wasn't currently on his menu. At least Hannibal had the decency to be fictional. My phone buzzed at 8:45. The unknown number from earlier. I dialed back with steadier hands. Put it on speaker, grabbed a pen and legal pad. Mr. Perry? Thank God. You got out? Female voice. Spanish accent, but her English was perfect. I got out. Who are you? I am Paloma Torres. I work for the Jackson family, next door to your daughter. Yesterday I was cleaning upstairs bedroom, and I hear voices through wall. Your daughter's house, they were talking loud. What did you hear? The man, Trevor, he was saying, Friday morning, 9 a.m. we file. The other man, the one in the suit? Kenneth. Yes, Kenneth. He say, the old man will never see it coming. By the time he gets a lawyer, I'll have temporary custody. Judge Graham always approves my petitions. Temporary custody. Of me. Like I was a child who couldn't cross the street alone. My pen moved across the legal pad, old professional habits taking over. Names, times, details. I'm so sorry, Mr. Perry. Your daughter, she was crying. But she said yes. She signed papers. Why are you telling me this? You don't know me. Pause. Long enough I thought she'd hung up. My mother, in Guadalajara. 3 years ago my uncle, he did the same thing to her. Said she was too old, needed help. They put her in a, facility. She died there, 6 months. We never got to say goodbye. He took everything. I'm sorry. No one helped her. No one warned her. I can help you. I have to. Paloma said housekeepers are invisible to people like Penelope and Trevor. I thought about all the times I'd worked crime scenes where the cleaning staff saw everything. Criminals always forget the invisible people. Amateurs. You said they're filing tomorrow. What time? 9 in the morning. Pinellas County Courthouse. Kenneth said Judge Graham has first docket Friday mornings. Judge Theodore Graham? Yes, I write it down. You want the petition number? I saw it on the papers on your daughter's table. You saw the actual papers? I was dusting. They leave everything out. They don't see housekeepers. We are invisible. Their mistake. Yes, give me that number. She rattled off details. I wrote them all down. Petition number. Filing time. Judge's name. Witness statements prepared by Penelope Trevor. Kenneth's professional assessment. Claims. Forgetful. Paranoid. Making wild accusations about fraud. Needs protection from himself. I'd spent 35 years examining forged documents. Now I was the document being forged. Incompetent. Failing. Dangerous to myself. The irony would have been delicious if it wasn't potentially fatal. Mr. Perry? Are you still there? I'm here. Thank you, Paloma. You're risking your job for this. Is not just job, is doing right thing. My mother, she deserved someone to fight for her. We hung up. I sat motionless for a full minute, then walked to the terrace, gripped the railing. The gulf stretched out black and empty, waves I could hear but not see. My phone had been buzzing during the call. Text from Toby. "Dad, you home safe? Answer me." I texted back. "Home. Researching. Call you tomorrow." His response came immediately. "What happened at dinner?" "Worse than we thought. Much worse. Not ready to talk. Trust me." "I'm booking a flight." "Not yet. Let me think." "We'll call morning." I went back inside, pulled out a fresh legal pad, wrote counter-strategy at the top in capital letters, stared at the blank page beneath it. 9 hours until they filed. 9 hours to figure out how to fight a predator who owned judges, had 12 current victims, and had just added me to his list. The phone rang. Unknown number, different from Paloma's. I answered cautiously. "Hello? Joe? Joe Perry? It's Marcus Holland. I got your number from the Florida Bar database. Listen, I just heard the most disturbing thing from a colleague. Some conservator named Kenneth Rutherford is apparently targeting you. Joe, I've known you 30 years. This is outrageous. You need legal help immediately, and I'm offering. My office tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. We'll stop this cold." Marcus sounded genuine, concerned. Perfect. Too perfect. The voicemail from earlier flashed in my memory. Penelope called me yesterday. My gut screamed warning, but my options were vanishing faster than my confidence. 8 a.m., I said slowly. "I'll be there." "You're doing the right thing, Joe. Get some sleep. I've got this." I hung up, stared at the phone. Trap or lifeline? 12 hours to decide if paranoia was wisdom or madness. Marcus Holland's office was on the 12th floor of a building on Cleveland Street. Glass and steel, professional but not ostentatious. I checked the directory in the lobby, took the elevator up, stood outside the frosted glass door reading Marcus Holland, Attorney at Law, steadied myself, opened it. "Joe Perry, get in here, you old friend." Marcus came around his desk with open arms. I accepted the hug, but my body stayed stiff. If he noticed, he didn't show it. "How long's it been? 10 years? 15? 20? Since the Hernandez forgery case." "Right, you testified. Nailed that guy on the signature analysis. Judge called your work devastatingly thorough." "Coffee?" "Please. Black." Marcus had photos of his family on the desk. Wife, 2 kids, golden retriever, the American dream in gilded frames. Made me wonder if they knew Daddy's law practice specialized in screwing over senior citizens for commission. Probably not a dinner table topic. Still sharp as ever, I bet. So Penelope said you needed help with some kind of guardianship issue? I paused. That's one way to put it. Start from the beginning. I told him everything. The forged documents 3 weeks ago. The dinner. Kenneth's arrival with conservatorship paperwork. The escape. Paloma's warning. The articles about Kenneth's previous victims. Marcus took detailed notes on a legal pad. Asked pointed questions about my finances, daily routine, medical history. They're filing this morning, 9 a.m. Pinellas County, Judge Graham. Marcus checked his watch. That's in 45 minutes. Okay, we can work with this. I'll file emergency opposition, demand continuance, get you evaluated independently. Relief washed over me like a wave. First time since Thursday I could breathe properly. Joe, I need complete transparency. Every asset, every account, every medical record. The more ammunition we have, the harder we hit them. I slid the manila folder across his desk. Everything I'd prepared at 3 a.m. Bank statements, investment accounts, house deed, insurance policies, medical files from my last physical. Perfect. This is thorough. You always were methodical. 35 years of documentation habit. Marcus flipped through pages, nodding. His phone came out. He photographed several documents. I assumed it was for his files. We'll establish an irrevocable trust. Lock everything down. They can't touch assets in proper trust structure. You'll need to sign some documents, but I'll have them ready by end of day. How fast can we move? Opposition filed by 2 p.m. Emergency hearing requested for tomorrow. Joe, I promise you, they picked the wrong man to mess with. I leaned back in the leather chair, closed my eyes briefly, accepted a second cup of coffee. Marcus walked me to the elevator, hand on my shoulder. I've got this, buddy. Stop worrying. That's my job now. The elevator doors closed. I watched the floor numbers descend. For the first time in 2 days, I felt something like hope. 3 days crawled by. Marcus kept texting, "Trust the process." I'd heard that phrase before, usually from people about to screw you. Plumbers say it before doubling the estimate. Mechanics say it before finding more problems. Lawyers say it before cashing your check and vanishing. But I wanted to believe. Friday afternoon, filed at 2:15. Waiting for hearing date. Sit tight. Saturday. Weekend, courts closed. Monday we'll know more. Relax. You're protected. Sunday evening. These things take time, Joe. Trust the process. Trust me. Monday morning. Meeting with clerk this afternoon. We'll call you tonight with update. By Monday lunch, I couldn't sit still. Drove to St. Armand's Circle to clear my head. Pulled into the Columbia restaurant parking lot. Through the window, I saw them. Marcus and Kenneth. Corner table. Laughing. Whiskey glasses. Briefcase between them. My fork dropped on the asphalt. It clattered loud. I didn't pick it up. I walked across the parking lot. Through the restaurant door. Other diners blurred. Tunnel vision locked on that table. Marcus! He stood too fast. Knocked his water glass. It spilled across the white tablecloth. Joe, what are you... This isn't... I can explain... Kenneth remained seated, twirled his whiskey glass, smiled slightly. Mr. Perry, please join us. We were just discussing you. You said you were filing opposition. Marcus's face went through several colors. I did. I was going to... He sent me your financial records Thursday afternoon. Kenneth's voice was smooth, satisfied, very helpful. That irrevocable trust idea? We'll contest it the moment you try to establish one, now that we know every asset you have. You're working with him. Joe, it's complicated. Kenneth and I have history. He called me, said if I helped him, he'd cut me in on... Marcus, stop talking. Kenneth's command was quiet but absolute. I looked at Marcus. 20 years ago, the Hernandez case, I trusted him then too. This is different. This is business. You have to understand, Joe. Kenneth offered me 30 pieces of silver. Kenneth laughed. Biblical reference. Interesting choice for an incompetent old man suffering delusions. I turned to leave. My legs felt distant, like they belonged to someone else. Mr. Perry? Kenneth's voice followed me. The hearing's scheduled for Wednesday. See you in court. Oh, and thanks for the complete asset inventory. Saved me so much time. Marcus followed me out. Joe, wait! Let me explain. I was going to help you, but Kenneth made a better offer, and I have bills. I stopped, turned. You sold me for bills? I gave you everything, every vulnerability, every defense I had. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I need the money. My practice is failing. I'm drowning. So you drown me instead. Got it. We're done. His face crumpled. That same desperate, guilty expression I'd seen on Penelope. These people weren't movie villains. They were drowning, and they'd pull anyone under to breathe one more moment, somehow more frightening than simple cruelty. I sat in my car, engine off, staring at nothing. My phone rang. Toby. I couldn't answer. What would I say? It stopped. Voicemail dinged. I couldn't listen. A knock on my window made me jump. A woman. 40s. Professional attire. Camera bag over shoulder. She held up press credentials. Tampa Bay Times. Mr. Perry? I'm Patricia Kowalski. I've been investigating Kenneth Rutherford for 11 months. I saw what just happened in there. I think we can help each other. Another trap? Another betrayal? But her eyes weren't calculating like Kenneth's or guilty like Marcus's. They were angry. She was hunting Kenneth too. I unlocked the door. Get in, but if you screw me, I've got nothing left to lose. She slid into the passenger seat. Same. Rutherford destroyed my aunt. I'm going to destroy him back. Patricia started talking before I'd even pulled out of the parking lot. Her words came fast, hands moving, sketching connections in the air between us. 11 months. That's how long I've been hunting Kenneth Rutherford. Your aunt? Sylvia Kowalski. 73 years old. Sharp as anyone I knew. Kenneth got guardianship after my uncle died. Said she couldn't manage alone. Within 6 months, she was in a facility, 300 miles away. I merged onto Gulf to Bay, driving on autopilot. My hands were steadier now, purpose replacing panic. We couldn't visit. He claimed she was too fragile for family stress. She died 8 months later. I'm sorry. She had $680,000. We got $12,000 after his administrative fees and care costs. He billed $42 per 15-minute visit. Claimed he visited 3 times a week for 8 months. Patricia's aunt's billing made me want to laugh or scream. $42 per 15-minute visit. I did the math. That's $168 per hour. Brain surgeons make less. Kenneth didn't even have the decency to overcharge at a reasonable rate. You couldn't sue? We tried. He had every document perfect, every signature notarized, every expense itemized. The system protects him. So you became a journalist. So I became a weapon. She pulled out her phone, started scrolling. I've documented 12 current wards, 4 suspicious deaths, $8.3 million in fees over 3 years. But I need someone willing to go public. Every family's too scared or too broken. Until now. Until you. We pulled into my driveway. I killed the engine, but didn't move. Just sat there, staring at my house like I'd never seen it before. I need to call my son. Patricia nodded. Waited. I pulled over 2 blocks from home. Couldn't drive and do this. My hands gripped the steering wheel. Toby, I need you to come to Florida. Now. Dad, what's wrong? Your voice. Marcus betrayed me. Gave Kenneth everything. All my financials, medical records, strategies. I'm exposed. And the hearing's tomorrow, and I have nothing, and... My voice cracked. Actual crack. Like I was 14 again and puberty was ambushing me. Stop. Breathe. I'm looking at flights right now. There's one at 6 p.m. I'll be there by 10 tonight. You don't have to. Dad, you're my father. Of course I have to. And I'm bringing help. Trust me. Long pause. The kind where you say things you don't usually say. I'm scared, Toby. I know. So am I. But we're not doing this alone anymore. Tuesday morning, Tampa Airport. Toby came through arrivals looking like he hadn't slept. We hugged. Long time. He felt my ribs through my shirt. When did you last eat? I don't remember. He guided me toward his rental car. Patricia met us in short-term parking. They'd coordinated without telling me. My dining room became war room. Laptop, legal pads, coffee cups multiplying like rabbits. Here's what we do, Patricia said. Kenneth's argument is you're incompetent. We prove otherwise. Video documentation every day, multiple times. How does that help legally? It doesn't, directly. But when I publish this story with video evidence, public pressure changes everything. Judges hate media scrutiny. Toby set up his camera on a tripod. Dad, just talk about what you did today. I felt ridiculous, but I talked about my forensic work. 300 court cases, 91% conviction rate, how forgers rush, miss pressure patterns, hesitation marks. Real signatures are confident. Forgeries are careful. Careful looks different. I finished the Tuesday New York Times crossword in 12 minutes. Wednesday's usually harder. Patricia suggested we wait for Wednesday's puzzle. I told her we weren't making a circus act. Besides, Kenneth probably couldn't finish Mondays. Cooked chicken piccata while they filmed. Showed my pen collection, handled each piece like it mattered. Because it did. Wednesday, Pinellas County Courthouse. I sat in the gallery, not a defendant yet. Watched Kenneth present his petition. Marcus sat at Kenneth's table like a loyal dog. I half expected him to bark when Judge Graham entered. Patricia filed an amicus brief. Tampa Bay Times backing. Judge Graham's face went sour. 10-day continuance granted. For independent evaluation. Small victory. But Kenneth was annoyed now, starting to realize I wasn't helpless. Thursday evening, I was compiling video footage when I paused on one frame. Behind me on the mantel, barely visible, a photo of Penelope, 7 years old, gap-toothed smile. I clicked pause, stared at that little girl. If I destroyed Kenneth, I destroyed her too. She'd signed papers, conspiracy, fraud. She could face charges. My finger hovered over the mouse. Didn't move. She was still my daughter. Somewhere under the desperation and weakness and Trevor's influence, somewhere in there was the kid who cried when she broke my favorite coffee mug. I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. She'd known then it was wrong. She knew now it was wrong. But she was doing it anyway. That was worse than simple cruelty. Weakness makes people more dangerous than malice. Toby found me like that, sitting in darkness. screen frozen on his sister's childhood face. That's Penny. When I destroy Kenneth, I destroy her too. She tried to have you declared incompetent, to steal your life. She's still my daughter. She stopped being your daughter when she chose Trevor over you, when she chose money over your freedom. Did she? Or was she scared? Desperate? Weak? Pause. Does it matter? Long silence. The Gulf waves outside my window kept their rhythm. I don't know, but I have to finish this anyway. Then finish it. Mourn her after. I clicked play. The video continued. Later that night, Patricia spread documents across my table. Template contracts from Kenneth's cases. Yellow highlighter marking clauses. Page 47. Does this make sense to you? I read clause 14.3. Read it again. This says if I die under conservatorship, assets don't go to next of kin automatically. They go to a state trust managed by conservator, with administrative discretion on distribution. Meaning, Kenneth controls whether Penelope and Trevor get anything, even if they're named in my will. Toby leaned over my shoulder. He was going to cut them out? Probably. Why share when he can keep everything? Patricia's eyes gleamed. They don't know this. They think they're getting your estate after you're gone. I stared at the clause, the implications spreading like cracks in ice. They were planning my death, and they didn't even know they'd get nothing for it. That's almost funny, Toby said, if it wasn't horrifying. Patricia gathered her notes. We can use this. Show Trevor. Flip him against Kenneth. I stood, walked to my office, returned with a file folder 20 years old. You're investigating Judge Graham, too? Graham's approved every single one of Kenneth's petitions for 3 years. 96 petitions. 96 approvals. That's not coincidence. That's corruption. I slid the folder across the table. 20 years ago, I examined documents in a real estate fraud case. The notary who certified fraudulent signatures? Graham, before he was a judge. Case was dismissed on technicality, but I kept my notes. Patricia opened the folder, read, looked up slowly. You've been sitting on this? I didn't know I'd need it. Now I do. She smiled. Not friendly. Predatory. Sunday's going to be very interesting. Sunday morning, I opened my front door in my bathrobe. Tampa Bay Times on the doorstep. Kenneth's face above the fold. Not a good photo. They'd chosen one where he looked exactly like what he was. Florida's most dangerous guardian. Kenneth Rutherford's trail of elder abuse. I stood on my doorstep reading. Didn't move for 5 minutes. Neighbor walking her dog waved. I didn't notice. Kitchen table. 3 of us shoulder to shoulder flipping pages. Patricia pointing out paragraphs she'd fought her editor to keep. 12 current wards. 4 suspicious deaths. 8.3 million in fees. Pattern of isolation. Judge Graham's perfect approval rate. My phone started ringing. Silenced it. By noon, 47 missed calls. Texts flooding from old colleagues, neighbors, people I hadn't talked to in years. The interviewer asked if I seemed like someone who needed a guardian. I told her if I did, she should check the credentials of whoever was guarding her, because her judgment was clearly impaired. She laughed. Viewers apparently loved it. I was just being honest. Monday afternoon, WFLA News 8 studio. Makeup artist powdering my face. Haven't been prettied up since my wedding. Toby adjusted my tie. Patricia coached from the green room. On camera, I solved a Rubik's Cube while explaining forensic methodology, handled my pens, spoke in complete paragraphs without notes. The interviewer held up 2 signatures. Can you tell which is forged? They look identical to me. Exactly. That's why experts exist. The real signature has natural variation in pressure. The forgery is too consistent. Forgers don't breathe when they write. Clips went viral by evening. 68-year-old forensic expert fights conservatorship scam. Monday night. Patricia analyzing Kenneth's standard contract, cross-referencing with what Penelope had signed. Joe, look at this. Clause 14.3. I read the legal language, translated it. My blood went cold. Kenneth controls whether Penelope and Trevor get anything. They signed away their own inheritance. They don't know, Patricia said. We tell Trevor. Show him the contract. Maybe he flips. Tuesday morning, Christmas Eve. We found Trevor at his dealership. Luxury cars gleaming in winter sun. Patricia blocked his exit with her car. What do you want? I'm working. I'm Patricia Kowalski, Tampa Bay Times. You read my story? His face hardened. I don't talk to press. Not even about how Kenneth Rutherford was going to screw you? She opened the folder. Read page 47, clause 14.3. Trevor's eyes tracked the words. His face changed colors like a mood ring. This doesn't mean what you're saying. It's just legal language. It means if Joe dies under conservatorship, Kenneth has sole administrative discretion over who gets what. You're not guaranteed anything. But he promised. We had a deal. 30%. Toby's voice came hard. You had a deal for 30% of my father's life. Trevor was trying to hold the papers. His hands shook so violently they scattered. He bent to gather them, dropped them again. It's not like that. We weren't going to hurt him. Just managed care. A facility. He'd be comfortable. Patricia's voice stayed level, clinical. 4 of Kenneth's previous wards died in facilities. Average time, 7 months. Average estate remaining, less than $5,000. Trevor slid down the side of his car, sat on the asphalt in his $5,000 suit. Trevor Watkins, who sold luxury cars and wore designer clothes, sat in a parking lot, crying like someone had told him Santa wasn't real. Oh God, Penny, what did we do? You tried to destroy an innocent man for money you were never going to get. The poker debts. I owe $127,000. They said I had no choice. Everyone has a choice. You chose wrong. I was listening on speakerphone in Patricia's car, parked 50 feet away, watching through the windshield. Trevor's voice came through broken. Kenneth said it was easy. He'd done it before. It would take 3 months. Joe would be comfortable, and we'd be free. Free of debt. And if Joe died in care. Whisper. Kenneth said old people die in facilities all the time. Natural causes. No one questions it. I couldn't stay in the car. Opened the door. Walked over. You planned to murder me. Trevor heard my voice. Recoiled like I'd hit him. Joe? Oh, God. Joe, I didn't mean... We weren't going to... Get up. You're sitting in a parking lot, crying about consequences. He looked up at me, tears and snot running down his face. I want you to testify against Kenneth. Court hearings in 6 days. You're going to tell the judge everything. If I do that, I'll go to jail. My hand tightened on Patricia's phone. Trevor was the man who'd tried to steal my life. But he was also desperate and broken and manipulated. Did he deserve jail? Yes. Did I want to be the one who put him there? I looked at Toby. His face was hard. He tried to kill you, Dad. Patricia stayed neutral. Your call. I closed my eyes. Opened them. Get up. You're testifying. Mercy? Justice? I don't know anymore. But this has to end. Trevor stood, wobbling, broken. Okay, I'll do it. I'll testify. Tuesday evening, my house, Christmas Eve. Patricia's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. Woman's voice. Ms. Kowalski, my name is Penelope Watkins. I think you've been talking to my husband. Patricia mouthed to me, It's your daughter. My face drained of color. I read your article, and I need to tell you something about Kenneth Rutherford that nobody knows. He has a partner, someone in the state attorney's office, someone who's been protecting him for years. I have proof. Documents Kenneth gave me to keep safe. He thought I was too stupid to understand what they meant. But I understood. My daughter's voice, after everything, offering help. Trevor called me from his office bathroom, said you showed him the contract, said we've been played. I believe him. Can we meet? Tonight? I have the documents, and I want to make a deal. Patricia looked at me. My hand trembled. Could be trap, could be redemption, could be both. I nodded. Patricia spoke into the phone. Where and when? Penelope stood on my doorstep holding a banker's box. Christmas Eve, 8 o'clock. I hadn't seen her face in weeks. Penelope! Daddy, can I come in? I have something you need to see. Long pause. Don't call me that. Her face crumpled. Recovered. I'm sorry. I know you don't believe me, but you're right. I don't. Why are you here? Kenneth gave me documents to keep safe. He said if anything happened, I should destroy them. But after Trevor called me, I looked at them. Really looked. He was paying off the state attorney's office. This is proof. Toby appeared behind me. Could be a trap. It's not. I swear. I'm trying to make this right. I stepped aside. You can't make this right. You can only make it less wrong. Come in. Patricia spread the papers across my dining table. Wire transfers, emails, payment records spanning 3 years. Kenneth Rutherford to Assistant State Attorney David Chen. Consulting services. Right. $40,000, Patricia read. That's not consulting. That's bribery. Penelope twisted her tissue. There are 3 years of these. Different amounts. Always consulting or legal fees. Why did he give you these? He thought I was too stupid to understand what I was holding. Were you? She flinched. Yes. Until Trevor told me about the contract. Patricia photographed each page. This destroys him. And Chen. And Graham. Will it help you? Penelope asked. It'll help everyone he hurt. Christmas Day. Emergency hearing. The courthouse felt wrong empty except for us. Judge Graham presided. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't tragic. He was about to witness evidence of his own corruption. Trevor testified first. His hands gripped the witness box edges, knuckles white. Mr. Rutherford approached me at a restaurant, said he knew about my debts, said he could help. What did he propose? A partnership. He'd get conservatorship. We'd split the estate, 30% to us. Trevor's voice broke multiple times. He couldn't look at me. Did Mr. Rutherford discuss how long this would take? He said 6 to 8 months, average. Until what? Trevor started crying. Until Joe would pass away, in the facility. Natural causes. Kenneth said it happened all the time. I sat rigid in my chair, hearing him say it out loud. They'd planned my death, discussed timeline, 8 months maximum. Patricia's attorney submitted the corruption evidence. Kenneth's lawyer speed-read the documents. His face drained of color. Kenneth sat with his jaw clenched, hands flat on the table. Only his eyes moved, scanning for exits that didn't exist. The state investigator stood, approached Kenneth's table with handcuffs. Mr. Rutherford, I need you to stand. Kenneth stood slowly, composed. This is harassment. I'm a licensed professional guardian. You have the right to remain silent. The handcuffs clicked. Kenneth maintained dignity, right until that sound. Then his expensive Italian briefcase fell open, spilling papers everywhere. His attorney scrambled to pick them up. Kenneth couldn't help. His hands were cuffed. The metaphor was so obvious it was almost offensive. They led him past my table. 12 wards, 4 dead, game over. Kenneth stopped, turned. His mask finally cracked. You were supposed to be easy. A lonely old man. How did you... 35 years catching people like you. I know how you think. This isn't over. It's over. They pulled him toward the door. Judge Graham sat pale and sweating. He knew he was next. Outside on the courthouse steps, 7 news vans waited. On Christmas Day, Kenneth Rutherford's arrest bumped every feel-good holiday story off the evening news. Microphones thrust forward. Mr. Perry, how do you feel? I feel like the system worked, eventually, with pressure. Kenneth Rutherford destroyed families for years. I stopped him before he destroyed mine. Your daughter provided key evidence. Have you reconciled? Pause. My daughter provided evidence because she was scared of prison. That's not reconciliation. That's self-preservation. What's next for you? I'm going home, to my house, that I own, to my life, that I control. That's all I ever wanted. Christmas evening, 6 o'clock. Sun setting over Tampa Bay in the distance. Patricia packed her equipment. Toby stood beside me, hand on my shoulder. Penelope exited the courthouse alone, walked past us without speaking, got into an old Honda, not her usual car, drove away. I watched her taillights disappear. You okay, Dad? I won. I'm alive. I'm free. I should be okay. But she's still my daughter, and I just watched her drive away knowing I'll never see her again. Toby squeezed my shoulder. We stood there as darkness fell, victorious and empty. 2 months later, I established a routine. Morning swim in the Gulf, breakfast on the terrace, reading news about guardian reform legislation moving through Tallahassee. Letters from other victims' families piled on my desk. I answered each one. Kenneth sat in Pinellas County Jail without bail. 23 criminal charges, 8 civil lawsuits, trials scheduled for May. Prosecutors wanted 20 years minimum. Trevor declared bankruptcy, lost everything, worked at AutoZone for $16 an hour. Studio apartment. Penelope filed for separation. Marcus got disbarred. Wife left him. Office closed. I was suing him for $200,000. Judge Graham resigned. Under investigation. Pension suspended. Patricia won a journalism award. The story sparked statewide reform. People called it the Perry Protection Act unofficially. My phone rang late February afternoon. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Daddy, please don't hang up. Just listen. Penelope's voice. Broken. Hesitant. I'm listening. I'm so sorry. I mean it now. I see what I did. I was desperate and scared, and Trevor kept saying it would be okay, that you'd be comfortable, that we needed the money. I just went along. You signed papers to have me declared incompetent. I know. It was wrong. I've lost everything. My job, my house, my marriage. Kieran barely speaks to me. I'm working reception at a clinic for $14 an hour. I can barely afford our apartment. My hand stayed steady holding the phone. No tremor. And you're calling because? Because you're my father. Because I made a terrible mistake. Because I'm asking for forgiveness. Are you asking for forgiveness or money? Pause. Both? I don't know. I need help. You tried to steal my life, not my money. My life. Kenneth's wards died. 4 of them. You signed papers that could have made me number 5. I didn't know about the deaths. I swear. You didn't ask. You didn't care. You saw money and took it. Please, I can't lose you. You're my father. I was your father. Past tense. You made your choice. Daddy, don't call me that. You don't get to call me that anymore. She sobbed. What about Kieran? He's your grandson. When he's 18, if he wants a relationship, he can call me. Until then, he has a mother who needs to explain her choices. Are you leaving me nothing? My will leaves you $50,000. Enough that you won't starve. Not enough that you'll be comfortable. You'll have to work. You'll have to struggle. You'll have to remember every day what betrayal costs. That's it? 50,000? That's 50,000 more than you deserve. Don't call this number again. Please, I'm begging. I hung up, set the phone down carefully, stared at it, didn't move for several minutes. Toby found me like that. That was Penny? Yes. What did she want? Forgiveness? Money? In that order. And you said? No. Evening. We sat on the terrace with bourbon, watching the Gulf turn gold then gray. You could have forgiven her, Toby said, given her another chance. Could I? She didn't apologize until she lost everything. That's not remorse. That's consequences. She's still your daughter. Biologically. But daughters don't try to have their fathers declared incompetent for profit. You won, Dad. Kenneth's in jail. You're free. The system's changing. Why does it feel like this? Because I lost her. Really lost her. Before, I could pretend maybe someday we'd reconcile. Now there's no someday. It's just done. Did you go too far? I don't know. I saved myself. Maybe saved others. But I also ended my relationship with my daughter permanently. There's no math that tells you if that trade was worth it. I'm proud of you. You did the right thing. The right thing hurts more than I expected. Next morning, doorbell rang. Paloma stood there with foil-wrapped tamales. Mr. Perry, I brought you these. To say thank you. You didn't have to do that. Come in. You saved yourself, but you also saved others. Mrs. Jackson tells everyone your story. Says you're a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm a man who didn't want to lose his freedom. That's what makes you one. I walked to my display case, opened it for the first time in months, selected the Mont Blanc 1924, held it up to the light, checking the condition. I want to give you something, for conscience, for courage. Oh no, I can't. That's too much. It's worth about $4,000. I've had it 30 years. It's yours now. She backed away. I can't accept. I pressed it into her hands, closed her fingers around it gently but firmly. Some things matter more than money. You taught me that. Sell it if you need to. Keep it if you want to remember, but it's yours, she cried. Thank you. Thank you. You saw evil happening and you acted. Most people don't. They look away. You didn't. After she left, I made coffee, walked to the terrace. The Gulf stretched out blue and endless. Behind me through the window, my pen collection sat in its lit display case. One piece missing now. On the table beside me, Patricia's award announcement, letters from grateful families, Toby's flight confirmation for next month. I picked up my tablet, read the Guardian reform bill, text. Perry Protection Act in the comments section. Small smile. Bittersweet. I protected myself. Protected others. Lost my daughter. Gained purpose. Set the tablet down. Sipped coffee. Watched pelicans dive. Phone didn't ring. House quiet. I was alone. Free, safe, empty, full, both. Penelope went from selling million-dollar properties to scheduling dermatology appointments. Trevor went from selling Maseratis to selling brake pads. I'd have felt sorry for them if I felt anything at all. I survived. That's enough. Has to be. The waves kept their rhythm, same as always, same as they would tomorrow. I stood there a long time, holding my coffee, looking at the water. The victory tasted like salt air and regret and satisfaction all mixed together. That's how it works. Life after winning. You save yourself. You lose something too. I could live with that. If you liked this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.